But the Warriors are so much better than the Lakers, and I'm foaming at the mouth with excitement with what ridiculousness the Lakers are going to throw at us this year. This is way less fun to do when Spadoni's out. He's still hanging out at home with the new baby. It's way less fun to rip on the Lakers when he's not here. And also, I feel like everybody's doing. You remember last year at the beginning of the year, I'm like, will everybody stop with this, like, well, once the Lakers get healthy and you don't want to play them I'm like, they are not a factor. Now I feel like everybody's saying that this year, so maybe the reverse will be true. Here's Windhorst on this topic this morning with Bonte and Joe.
AD looks really good, and LeBron, when he's hit the gas in the preseason, has looked good. They'll have their nights. I mean, I expect them to win. They're going to be if they're reasonably healthy, they should be a winning team. But how can they look at the Warriors in the eye and say we're on the same level as them? How can they look at the Clippers? I mean, the Clippers may not stay healthy. Look, if Kawhi gets hurt again, what are you going to do? But, how can they look at, how could they compete with the Nuggets the way they're constructed? I mean, how could they compete with the Suns? I don't even know if they can compete with the Wolves, quite frankly.
You worried about this team? In a grand sense, at all?
The Lakers?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You are.
And much like Bob Fitzgerald said, Ernie Shavers was a great comp, and I would encourage you to go back and look at Ernie Shavers' boxing career, because Bob's right. You box him, you beat him, but one big punch from Ernie Shavers, and you go to sleep night-night. And this Laker team, in a short series, they could be dangerous, because you do have LeBron James, and say what you will about him over 82. He's better in a short series than he is over the course of an entire season. Russell Westbrook, if he decides that he wants to be a part of the Laker organization, he's an unguardable force now, Mark. You can eyebrow
man.
me all you want.
Russell Westbrook
in a short series, in a one possession situation, he's unguardable. Do you tell me who on the Warriors is going to be able to guard him one-on-one? He's a tough cover.
Russell Westbrook guards himself. You don't need to. I mean,
he's
listen.
A tough cover.
Can he drive by you and get a layup here and there?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Anthony Davis is a phenomenal player.
And he can also turn the ball over half the times. I mean, again, Russell Westbrook is flat out not a championship winning player.
Well, he hasn't yet, so.
I mean, he's Steve Francis Part 2. He is one of these guys who absolutely can put up numbers. He's talented. He can drive by you. I'm not trying to tell you Russell Westbrook isn't dangerous on a possession. What Kevin Durant has told you, and then organization after organization after organization, James Harden, all of these other stars have consistently told you, is that Russell Westbrook being on your team leads to poor decision-making on a night-in and night-out basis. To me, that's a fact. Bring Russell Westbrook to me as an opponent. If I'm a heady group like the Golden State Warriors are, bring Westbrook every night, and I'll take 4 quarters against that guy.
I'm just saying,
no problem.
you're going to be favored against the Lakers, and you should beat the Lakers, but in that setting, in a short series, they can be a tough out. That's all I'm saying. I wouldn't look past them. Bob Fitzgerald said the very same thing to you earlier. Now, he did not put the Lakers as the top threat. He actually mentioned 5 or 6 other teams, which is why I had to follow up and ask him about the Lakers in terms of what he thought. And he's not ready to discount them, certainly in that short series. So, maybe it comes down to where they win the play-in, or they wind up as the 8th seed, and it's a Warriors 1 against the Lakers 8. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you go through the West. Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down on whether or not this team scares you in terms of challenging the Warriors for a top 4 seed. That was sort of the definition we came to yesterday with Steiny and Goo. Like, you want to be a top 4 seed. The Warriors are not going to grip and freak out if they're not the 1. I think we'd be disappointed if they're the 4, but you want to be one of those first-round home court advantage teams, right?
They were 3rd last year,
right,
and it worked out just fine.
Okay, so I'll go through the teams. You tell me if this could be a top 4 team. New Orleans Pelicans.
No.
Dallas Mavericks.
No.
Denver Nuggets.
Yes.
I agree. Houston Rockets.
No.
Los Angeles Clippers.
Yes.
Okay, I agree. Los Angeles Lakers.
No.
Minnesota Timberwolves.
No.
Phoenix Suns.
Yes.
Portland Trailblazers.
No.
Sacto Kings.
No.
San Antonio Spurs.
Come on.
Oklahoma City Thunder.
They still in the league?
Utah Jazz.
No.
Memphis Grizzlies.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll give you Memphis.
So we're looking. You named
4 teams.
By the way, I would have done that. I'd have answered it exactly the same way you did.
I think Memphis is like the teams that really scare me. And I mean, scare me. The Warriors should win the Western Conference. They are among the short list of favorites to win the whole damn thing. So no team scares me. But the ones I mentioned, the Clippers with a rested Kawhi with Paul George, Tyronn Lue, as Bob Fitzgerald mentioned, great coach. I think the Clippers are real.
Talented,
Denver, if Denver stays healthy, Denver's got a troika of stars, and then you throw in Aaron Gordon. That's a dangerous team. And something about Memphis, even though Triple J's will not play, it looks like Jaren Jackson Jr. with the bum foot, which hurts their chances. That team was, they were a problem last year.
All right, so essentially what we just came to is we agree that the top 5 teams in the West are Memphis, Phoenix, Golden State, the Clippers, and the Nuggets.
Yes.
Those are your top 5 teams.
Right.
And then the rest is all just working through the 6, 7, and 8 seed,
The quest
play-in,
for 6,
the
yeah.
play-in and all that. I agree with you, but I also think the Warriors will absolutely find their way to being one of those top 4 out of the 5. There's a lot of ifs there. Jaren Jackson Jr.,
Yeah.
you mentioned that. I'm starting to get to the point where, with a healthy Kawhi, well, when the hell is that? Like, how many years in a row,
Yeah.
right, before you go, look, we haven't even really seen the Clippers with these 2 guys, and we're acting like it's turnkey, and it's not. How much basketball have they played together? I'm a big believer in continuity. It's one of the reasons the Warriors are so phenomenal is they can close their eyes and play together. They know exactly where they're going to be. Kawhi and Paul George, how many games have they even played together? We know the names. They're big
Right.
talents, but are they just going to walk out on the floor and go, okay, we're ready to be awesome, and we're ready to be at the top of the West?
Clippers very deep, too.
Yeah,
so,
they're a good team.
Yeah.
They're a good team.
I
But
think also when we look at the West, we can look at the teams in the West that have none chance, and I would put in Portland, Oklahoma City, Houston, and San Antonio.
Utah.
I think Utah I would put in that middle group of fighting for a play-in.
Okay.
I think you take the bottom 4.
Oh,
and
you're talking none chance for even the playoffs. Got it. I thought you meant like, none chance for a top 5 seed or whatnot.
right. No, I meant like those 4 teams I mentioned. I think are going to be teams 11 through 14.
Got it.
And then your remaining Minnesota and Utah and the Lakers I would throw in, and even Sacramento,
New Orleans.
Yep. Those teams would be the ones fighting for a spot in the play-in.
No doubt about it. So interesting
Dallas,
to look at the. I love what people are saying when they're like, "Gosh, normally it's 4 or 5, maybe 6 teams that can win a title. This year it feels more like 10." Because we just named 5 teams in the West we really, really like. And you can probably do something similar in the East when you talk about Boston and Milwaukee. And let's see if Brooklyn can get their drama down and their wins up.
Yeah.
So there's that. Philadelphia, Miami, right? They're interesting teams over there who can all sort of be a factor here. So that's good. That's good for the NBA. Like, we don't normally have that. We normally sit here on opening night and go, so which of these 3 teams is going to win it? And usually in the last 20 years, that's been, okay, so there's LeBron's team, and then
Right.
who are the other 2 teams who can challenge him? And we're literally having the conversation about 10 teams, and LeBron's team isn't one of them.
Right, and I think it's parity in the NBA in part because the 3-point shot allows there to be so much more parity, and also offensive basketball now. You have so many more teams that have offensive weapons and offensive threats, and these games aren't bogged down 90-89 like they used to be, and the talent is spread throughout the league. It used to be, think about Michael Thompson's Laker teams, and, you've got 4 or 5 of the greatest players of all time going up against Boston with their 3 or 4 or 5 best players of all time, and there's maybe 8 other stars in the league at that time spread across 7 different teams.
Right, exactly. So that's a good thing. We were talking about it in the NFL too. Not a bad thing to have so many surprises on a week in, a week out basis.